Hello friends, welcome back. So now we will discuss about what we have been stating in the previous lectures, that is about the recruitment process. So in the current lecture, I am going to discuss about the steps of the recruitment process and also what are the alternatives to recruitment. That is, what if the organization doesn't want to recruit, maybe because of the costs that are involved. So what alternatives an organization has as far as the recruitment is concerned. So let's start with the recruitment process. So, well, friends, a recruitment process has these 5 stages or phases, beginning with the recruitment planning, then comes the strategy development, searching, screening, and last step in the process is the evaluation and control. So let's learn about all these stages in the recruitment process. So, as I said, the first step is the recruitment planning. So, recruitment planning is the first step of the recruitment process where the vacant positions are analyzed and they are described. So, it includes the job specifications and its nature, that is, what is the kind of job, what experience, qualifications, and skills are required to perform that job, means what the candidates we want to hire, what experience they must be having, what skill sets they must be having, what qualification they must have to apply or perform when selected in that job. So a structured recruitment plan is mandatory to attract potential candidates from a pool of candidates. So we have already learned this thing that the entire recruitment procedure or entire recruitment process, that is the first attempt of an organization to come in contact with the qualified people. So if you do not have a well structured recruitment plan, then the entire process goes haphazard and it creates a negative image in the minds of the potential candidates. So you must have a structured recruitment plan in place. Only then good people, qualified, skilled people will be attracted and they will apply for the jobs. And the potential candidates should be qualified, experienced to achieve the objectives of the organization. So that fit, we have already learnt of the fit between the people, the job. So that fit has to be clearly seen and analyzed. So the potential candidates, they must be qualified enough to perform the particular job or the vacancy for which we are applying. So the first and foremost process of the recruitment plan is identifying the vacancy. So this process begins with receiving the requisition for the recruitments from different departments of the organization to the HR. So we all know that there are different departments in an organization. There's the marketing, the operations, the R&D might be there, the manufacturing might be there. So all these departments, they first identify a vacancy and all these departments will send a requisition to the HR management, HR manager about the number of the vacancies and what skill sets are required for that vacancies. This requisition will contain the number of posts to be filled, the number of positions to be filled, the duties and responsibilities that the a new hire will be required to perform, and the qualification and experience of the candidates. These are all mentioned in the requisitions. So when a vacancy is identified, the HR manager ensures whether the position is required or not. So he will verify that whether we actually require so many people or not, and whether they have to be employed on a permanent basis or temporary basis, whether the job will be a full time or a part time. So all these things are verified by the HR manager. So these parameters should be evaluated before beginning the recruitment, because we learned that recruitment is a costly affair, a costly process. So all these aspects have to be analyzed beforehand. So proper identifying, planning and evaluating a job leads to hiring of the right person. So it is very necessary that we are clear with what purpose we are hiring people for. Only then we will be hiring the right people. So another aspect of this is that we have to design our job analysis. Now, what is job analysis? Well, it is a process of identifying, analyzing, and determining the duties, responsibilities, skills, abilities, and the work environment of a specific job. And these factors help in identifying what a job demands and what an employee must possess in performing a job in a productive manner. So, job analysis is a very crucial aspect of the recruitment planning. And the next is the job description. So, as the name says, it describes the job. It is an important document that contains the final statement of the job analysis. So, we can say that a job description is an outcome of job analysis, and it is very important for a successful recruitment process because it provides the information about the scope of the job roles, the responsibilities and positioning of job in the organization. And this data derived from job description, it gives the employer a clear idea of what an employee must do to meet the requirements of his job responsibilities. So another aspect of job analysis is the job specification. Now, job specification, it focuses on the specifications of the candidate. So we are not focusing on the job right now, but we are focusing on the candidate. So the candidate whom the HR team is going to hire. So the first step in job specification is preparing the list of all jobs in the organization and its location. And the second step is to generate the information of each job. So the next aspect comes is the job evaluation. So job evaluation, it is a comparative process of analyzing, assessing and determining the relative value or the worth of a job in relation to other jobs in the organization. So the main objective of a job evaluation is to analyze and determining which job commands how much pay. So we are going to learn about all these job analysis, job description, job specification, and job evaluation in the subsequent lectures. And we will also discuss that what is the process of job analysis, what is the process of job description, how is job evaluated. So what are parameters are to be considered and how the organization collects the information regarding a particular job. So we will discuss about these in the separate lectures. But today, since we are focusing on the process, so this is just a part of the process, and we have touched this entire concept briefly. So the second step in the recruitment process is the recruitment strategy or the strategy development. So it is the second step where a strategy is prepared for hiring the resources. So after completing the preparation of job descriptions and job specifications in the previous stage or previous phase, the next step is to decide which strategy to adopt for recruiting the potential candidates for the organization. Another very crucial aspect, because the success of your recruitment will depend on the strategy. So how solid the strategy you are making for the recruitment. So while preparing a recruitment strategy, the HR must consider the following points: that whether they are going to make or buy employees, what is the type of recruitment they are going to take, what are the geographical areas that are to be taken into consideration, and what sources of recruitment the organization will be using. So let's learn about these also. So make or buy employees means that the firms must decide whether to hire less skilled employees and further invest on their training. So that is a make. Or they can hire skilled labor and professionals. So that is like buying employees. So that is a crucial strategy that the organization must be clear of. So whether they want to hire less skilled and then invest on their training, or they can just simply hire the skilled people only. The second is the types of recruitment. That is, the HR department decides on whether to recruit using direct or indirect methods. So many organizations are using indirect methods in the name of third party recruitment and outsourcing some parts of recruitment process to experienced consulting firms. So that strategy also has to be thought of. And the next aspect is the geographical area. So mostly what organizations look into, that the managerial and professional employees must be accessed from the national markets, the technical employees from regional or local markets, and the clerical and blue collar employees from local markets. So this is the strategy of how to acquire various job people from various geographical areas. The next is the sources of recruitment. So based on the job position and skills required to perform the job, the recruiter choose the source of recruitment. So sources can be two types of sources: internal sources and external sources. So this decision is very critical, as the rest of the recruitment strategy is based on this. So internal sources means the people who are already working for your organization. They might be either rotated from one department to the other department, or they may be promoted within the same department. So these are internal sources. Then there are external sources. There are a number of external sources. You can get people from college placements, institutes of higher education are there, universities are there, then referrals are there, then poaching is there when we hire people from our competitors. So all these sources also we will discuss in subsequent lectures, because this is a full-fledged topic of sources of recruitment. So coming to the next stage of the recruitment process, after the strategy has been built and strategy has been developed, we start searching. So once a recruitment plan and strategy are worked out, the search process begins, and the search basically includes or involves two steps. The first is the source activation, and the second is the selling part. So the source activation means that the activation takes place when departments having vacancy confirms it to the HR manager about it, and also approves the draft of the job descriptions as well as the job specifications. So the organization is clear about the vacancy and what skills will be required in the people who are going to perform that particular job. The next step is the selling. That is, the organization selects the channel of communication to reach out to the prospective candidates. So how you are going to reach out, how you are going to attract maximum number of people. Will it be are you advertising it in the newspaper, or are you advertising it on your job portal, or are you using some social media platforms to reach out to people? So all these things are decided in this phase. Next comes the screening. So it can be regarded as an integral part of the recruiting process. So once the job applications are received by the recruiter, the screening process begins. So now applications are shortlisted for the further selection process, and after shortlisting of applications based on job specification, the selection process will begin. And then comes the evaluation and control. So evaluation and control basically determines the authenticity and effectiveness of the HR recruitment process, that how authentic and how effective the entire process has been. So this step is essential as organization assesses the cost incurred during the recruitment and the output that it has gained in terms of selection of suitable candidates and their joining. So the cost of recruitment will include the time spent in the recruitment process, the cost of advertisements, the selection and consultant fees in case of recruitment from outsources, and the salaries of the recruiters. So the output is then calculated in terms of selection and how soon the employee has joined the organization, and also the suitability as well as the performance of the newly joined employee. So if the employee joins early, he will start performing in a shorter duration of time and will be productive. But if the employee takes long time in joining and then he's also not performing, that means your entire process is a costly process, and you are not gaining enough benefit from the hiring and the selection. So what if the organization does not want to recruit? So what alternatives does the organization has as far as the recruitment is concerned? So organizations look for alternatives to recruitment because of the costs involved. So we will discuss of 4 such alternatives to recruitment, and these have all these will have their own pros and cons, their advantages and disadvantages, but we will briefly learn of these alternatives to recruitment, and these are overtime, employee leasing, outsourcing, and temporary employment. So overtime is a very common term. You must have heard about it. So when the demand for product peaks, the firm seeks to make present employees work extra hours. So instead of recruiting new people, they are asking the already working employees to work for some extra hours. So overtime can also provide employees with an additional income. So those who are interested and those who want to work extra time or overtime, they get some additional income. So it is beneficial for the employee. But the disadvantage of it is that it causes fatigue, increased accidents, and more absenteeism also. So as I said, every such alternative will have its own pros and cons. So the next alternative is employee leasing. So it is also known as staff outsourcing, and it involves paying a fee to a leasing company or a consulting firm that handles the payroll, employee benefits, and some other routine HR functions for the client company. And it is useful to small and medium-sized firms only that might not be able to maintain a regular HR staff. So it is limited to only small and medium-sized firms who do not afford a separate or a distinct HR department or HR domain. The next alternative is temporary employment, and it is very common when the organization is thinking of downsizing. So we can say it is an outcome of downsizing. And historically speaking, temporary employment agencies were seen as sources of semi-skilled and clerical help during peak work periods. But today, we have just-in-time employees. They can be found staffing all types of jobs, including professional, technical, and even executive positions. So this is also a current trend in recruitment in HR. Then is the outsourcing. This is the last alternative. We have learned this in emerging trends in HR also, and you must be aware of this term by now. So medium and large organizations, they often make strategic decisions to outsource the recruitment activity to some third party specialist. Sometimes it saves time and sometimes it saves cost. And once a position is identified, that position is handed over to the specialist who carries out the entire recruitment process, and the parent company, parent organization is saved from investing their times into the entire recruitment process of advertising and then calling for application, then screening those applications. And this is also basically done because the HR is now becoming more of a strategic partner. So they are trying and, they are trying to find out time for all these more important, more crucial strategic decision making, instead of the mundane and routine jobs of going through so many applications and finding the right people. So outsourcing is a current trend in recruitment and human resource management. So friends, today we learned of a very important aspect of recruitment, that is the recruitment process. There were a number of phases in the recruitment process, and then we also learned that at times when organizations do not want to recruit, what best alternatives they have with them. So that is the end of this lecture. We will continue with some other aspects, other topics of recruitment in the subsequent lectures. Thank you.